Hello and welcome to the Simply Awesome Podcast. It's me, your host, Roy, with my co-host, Elaine. Introducing our special guest, Kendra. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Hey guys, I'm Kendra, one fourth member of the Outside the Norm podcast. You guys didn't ask for the rest of my crew, but it's me.
Would you like to give details about where they can reach you on any social media platforms or websites?
Sure, you can reach me at Charm City Maven on IG. IG is the primary place, so Charm City Maven on Twitter. My bad. On IG, the Charm City Maven. On IG, Charm City Vixen. The is important.
Okay. That's what's up. That's what's up.
Yep, and welcome you, Kendra, to the Simply Awesome podcast.
Yes,
Thank you for having me.
that's welcome.
Oh, no problem. Again, I want to thank each and every one of you for tuning in to YouTube, also on the Anchor app, as well as Spotify, Apple Podcasts as well. Thank you for all the international viewers, as well as people here locally throughout the U.S.
Yes.
Can I say be sure to link and subscribe? That's what I hear all the YouTubers say.
Most definitely. Please follow, subscribe, all platforms.
All right. This has been a very, very heavy week for us. We're gonna jump right into it.
Whoa, hold up. Before we get anything too heavy, I just want to shout out to Lamar Jackson for getting his first playoff win. A
Yeah,
lot of
congrats to the
naysayers
Ravens
and
on that one.
doubters over the years saying that he couldn't get the job done, but he finally got the job done. No,
Yeah,
that's our
congrats to the
quarterback,
Ravens on that W.
Ravens
Congrats to the
Nation,
Ravens on that W.
most
So
definitely.
we wanted to.
Yes, got the
All right.
dub.
Yes.
But
All right. Let's get into it right now. For those of you that don't know, we have had some crazy things happen this week. We had a damn insurrection at the Capitol this week. It started out a couple days before where people were flying in and getting ready for January 6th to go, where they were contesting the actual election results. There were senators saying they weren't going to actually verify the votes and say that, oh no, the election was rigged, all this other stuff, that it happened because of what happened before that. But the president actually asked these people to come in and get riled up. He actually had a whole speech to them. There were many things that we can go forward with. There was a senator that actually quoted Hitler at the rally before everything popped off. The president riled this group up. Yes, this is true. I know a lot of people disagree, but that's
yeah, I'm like, damn.
let me get her name real quick. I have it in my notes. Her name is uh, 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 Congresswoman Murray Miller. My bad. She said Congresswoman Murray Miller quoted Hitler before everything popped off. The president did a rally, riled these people up, saying, "Yeah, we're going to get these. We're going to stop them. We're going to make sure they'll steal no more our votes, everything like that." They went back to the White House, and there was a not a protest, but a riot at the Capitol. This was all sparked off by the Proud Boys sitting there punching the police. Yes, that did happen. For y'all that didn't see it, and discuss.
Yeah, I'm going to chime in first. It was clearly, very disgusting. Uh, Not to really compare atrocities, had it been black people rushing towards the doors, I think we all know how that would have happened. What would have happened? You know, People got shot down like savages, like what we usually see. This is definitely not surprising. It's disgusting, and it just shows shit. Maybe a lack of faith in our U.S. Military. Like just for regular Joe blows just to get in so rather easily and into our capital is just a disgrace. And
Mhm.
I don't see how we look good in the eyes of around the world. Russia, China, and the places overseas probably like, oh wow, is this that easy
Yeah.
just to getting a top U.S. Uh, space like. It's just despicable.
We don't look good at
Uh,
all.
yeah, not at all. Go ahead.
Oh no, I was gonna say, yeah, definitely we don't look good at all. It puts us in an incredibly vulnerable space, not just for now, but even for years to come, I would say. And I mean, I've been talking about this quite a bit. It also is like, okay, at this point, our one of our symbols of American democracy has basically been smashed to smithereens. So exactly what does that say? At this point, we look like a third world country. What is the American dream? Like what do we actually hold dear at this point? It seems like we don't have anything. It's it's sad. And it's hard, it's even as a Black person, when it's like, okay, a lot of Black people feel as though they can't see themselves as an American. It's like it's only in America where if somebody holds an American flag, you assume that they're racist. So we already have like a complicated history with our own nation. But on the flip side, it's like, this is also our country, and we have feelings about how we expect to be represented as well. And we've also bought into the idea of the superiority that is America. And so this occurrence has basically shown that that's definitely it's a lie. It's a lie that clearly no one believes at this point.
Go ahead, Roy.
Very true, very true. This is the first time the Capitol has been breached since 1814. It was not by enemy forces, it was by our own people. This is the first time that the Confederate flag has ever breached the Capitol. The last time it ever got anywhere near the Capitol was in 1864, 65, I want to say. That was 6 miles away from the Capitol. When that happened, these people were not patriots. They were not protesters. They were traitors. And this is a treason. They're terrorists. And this is a treasonous act. These people are not to be looked upon with good grace or like, oh, those are good people. No, those are terrorists and traitors to this country and democracy. Like no one tells me any differently. They do. They're lying to themselves and they're ignorant to history and what these people have done. These people hung nooses, had gallows, left pipe bombs around the Capitol. People not talking about that. There were many pipe bombs around the Capitol. Luckily, they did not go off. They scaled the walls outside the Capitol. They bum rushed in. Capitol police were high-fiving and taking selfies with these people. Let them run them up, smoke joints in the Capitol. They actually left them on the Senate floor. They ransacked a couple people's offices. They have pictures up where they were in people's offices, and they had pictures of emails going up. They stole podiums, laptops, iPads, all these other things. And these are federal crimes.
They were looting.
They were looting. These are looters. These are federal crimes, and people all getting arrested and charged for this. All these people are on the no-fly list as of now.
Yeah.
So don't think that because you made it home, you're safe. No, you're not. They're finding these people. You're on a no-fly list, and the FBI will be coming for you.
I'm so happy to see that that's happening, but I also feel like it's too little, too late. Like, how did they even make it to the airport? You remember, so during, of course, the Freddie Gray uprising, how it was some person a guy who they demolished a cop car, and they had like serious fees levied upon them. They had serious jail time from a cop car. So, I mean, of course, if a cop car is supposed to be, I mean, that's regular public destruction, but obviously anything that's in a Capitol building is even more. So, like, are we going to see those same type of charges?
Hopefully, they were saying one guy that actually went to Nancy Pelosi's office had his feet up on her desk and stole her mail. Stealing mail is a federal crime. They're saying he might get a year just for that, but hopefully they levy him with the other charges and gets more jail time than that.
Do you think this was an inside job?
They've already said that if you pay attention to the news, they already said that the Department of Defense told the National Guard to they had to wait for orders. They could not go in until they had orders from the top. They already said they didn't prepare for enough. Even though they knew weeks ahead of this was happening, they knew weeks ahead from different websites, Twitter, Facebook, all the FBI, CIA, whatever else monitoring these groups and stuff. They knew this was going to happen. They didn't have whoever was up top, who we know our leader is, did not have enough police or military there waiting. They knew that they were going to be understaffed for at this point. Because if you go back and look at any of the other protests, peaceful protests that happened throughout the last couple of years, they had police and riot ready before it even happened. National Guard was there on the side waiting to go. If you were here in Baltimore, you saw the National Guard were here in a day. Literally one day they were here.
Yeah.
They were here the next day rolling through downtown, waiting.
And posted for weeks.
Yep.
Mind you, these are peaceful protests, not this rabid rally that was going on down in D.C. Again, they knew about this for weeks. This is not a breakdown of any communication. This is not a breakdown of chain of command. This was meant to happen. This was...
So I just want to be clear. So what are you saying in happens? They just allowed it to happen, or that it was intentional for this to occur?
No, this was allowed to happen because we've seen what the response is proportionally to something like this when it's Black and brown people. When it's them, they're saying no, let them be. We've heard military leaders and police saying no, we didn't have to go ahead. No, we didn't have orders to step in. We had to wait. Governor Hogan was like, we had our people ready to go. We had our National Guard police ready to come in. He's like, we had to wait for the DOD and the DOJ to say, all right, get the order, come on in.
Right.
So it wasn't like people were like, oh no, we gotta see what's happening. Like, no, people knew what was going on, knew these things were happening, and said we're not going to do anything.
Yeah, right now we're definitely in a state of flux, especially with the transition of power. Right now we're at the most vulnerable state that I think we ever been in, like past 4 or 5 years.
Longer than that.
Certainly
longer than that. I mean, I don't think that we have experienced this whole instability in terms of government in, even, I don't know what you can compare it to.
This type of instability in our lifetime, I don't think we've seen this. This type, no. We've seen different types of instability, but something like this is some movie, third world country type shit. We haven't seen anything like this in our lifetimes, I can say.
Right.
Apparently, Blue Lives didn't matter that day because the police were beaten, and one officer was killed doing that. It came out that another officer just committed suicide today because of the riots that happened down there. And inability to help his fellow officer from being killed. These people are being arrested right now. They all apparently they get federal charges.
Have you seen the videos of them being in the airport being taken away?
Yeah, yes, I have. I just saw that. One guy was like, "This is how they're treating us. They're calling us terrorists. This is what they're doing to us." Like, no, you did this to yourself, sir.
Right.
You want to be a terrorist and traitor to the country. This week you know to do.
I saw the guy who stole the podium, like his little going to jail photo.
Oh yeah, no, they got him.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
All right. So speaking of, there were about 40 people arrested during the riot. There were 5 people killed, including one officer that was beat with lead pipes. The other 4 people that were killed was the one woman that got shot in the neck. Ashley. People talking about they smoking on an Ashley pack.
Yeah.
Because of that, yeah. There was a woman that was trampled to death. Her husband spoke out. He was also a staunch Trump supporter. He was like, we told her not to go do it, but she did it anyway. She was doing it for what she believed in. Well, she believed they got killed. One dude tried to steal a painting from the Capitol, tased himself while trying to do it, and bust his head, killed himself. Another guy that had lots of photos I'm talking about come to my hood with various weapons, had a heart attack at the Capitol, and died there.
Mm.
I feel no sympathy for any of these people. Some of the officers, he didn't deserve to die. I feel sympathy for their families, but none of these people that died doing this, I feel no sympathy for them. I'm sorry, you get something from me.
Did they
Yeah,
get the
fair.
guy who had the zip ties though? Like
Yeah,
this is wow.
the two guys. There were two guys. There was one guy that was on the floor that was had a vest and was dressed like the army dude or whatever. They caught him. They caught the other guy that was a army veteran. They say he is probably going to be court-martialed.
Mm-hmm.
The other guy was, I think, a bartender, and another guy that was down there was a lawyer or something, and he's been fired apparently. A lot of people been fired.
Yeah,
One
it's
guy had
sad.
his lanyard on, and he got fired real quick. He worked for the government. He was like, "Oh no, we get your ass up out of here."
Yeah, a lot of people really revealing themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine being an employee from one of these rioters. You know what I'm saying? Like going to work and what I'm saying, not really knowing people that you work for.
Yeah.
Also, you gotta imagine that this is very dangerous as far as for potential copycatters in the future for next rallies, especially uh, when the new President Biden goes for his inauguration.
Well, yeah, that's true. This isn't anything new. If you pay attention, what happened in Michigan where they tried to kidnap the governor and kill her.
Mm,
This is not a brand new act. This is something that they've knows going on. These hateful groups have gathered like this, and they aren't considered domestic terrorists, which they are. They aren't on the FBI list, which they should be. But Black Lives Matter is a daggone terrorist organization, apparently, according to the government.
right.
This is some really crazy stuff.
So what happens next? Like, what do you guys think moving forward? I mean, we got a pending impeachment tomorrow.
Yeah.
I don't think he gets impeached. I don't even think it's really because right now Biden hasn't been sworn in. I don't think the Senate has been sworn in. So right now, I think the Republicans hold the majority, right?
Office, yeah.
So it's kind of like a moot point, I think. But I mean, it's a nice gesture, though. I mean, it's a little too late, but it's a nice gesture.
I mean, it's certainly too little, too late. I mean, I think the fact that we have even gone this many days and he hasn't been physically removed from office is beyond me. The 25th, what is it? The 25th Amendment, whatever. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that should have definitely been invoked that night. I think invoking it that night would have, for one, had its most obvious and clear support. So to now do it at this point, I think it's definitely too little, too late.
Yeah.
But with that being said, we have, whether he leaves or not, I feel like the next few months are set up to be a very dangerous situation.
He's leaving one way or another. He get about it. I want these people arrested and prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. Throw the book at these traitors. Throw the book at all of them. There's a video of the president and his family laughing and celebrating about this happening right before, right when it's going on. It was just released. The president's been banned from all social media, which he deserves to be.
A little too late, but I mean,
for inciting this, I guess a little. We know it's way too late, but it happened. The app that they were using, was it Parler, has been removed from all app stores and platforms, and Amazon is not hosting their service anymore. They use the organizer. They like, mind you, the CEO right before it's happened, the CEO said, "Oh, who would want to host us?" Well, apparently nobody, because Amazon said, "Fuck up."
But even that is a slippery slope, and I don't know.
It is.
what the resolution is, because everybody says, okay, well, what is freedom of speech? Like,
Well,
how do you? So, I mean, we recognize that these are privately held platforms. Like, these are companies.
yes.
These aren't governments. But this is still usually the method that people use to, talk to one another and express their ideas in general. And it gets to be tricky when you can just completely censor people. One
Well,
day it could very well be you. So it's like one of my favorite quotes is, I may not like what you have to say, but I'll fight to the death that I have to say it, that you have the right to say it. That was like John Locke, I believe.
Mm.
Like, that's a serious thing to me. Like, we can't just choose. I mean, I understand people who are using things to incite violence. I completely get that. But still, it becomes a very slippery slope. I even hesitate when there's situations where people are losing their jobs because of the things that they've said. I don't know what the right answer is, but I don't think that we should be so trigger happy and to applaud when that happens, because you never know when you'll be put in a position when you're on the opposite, when you become the enemy of the state, particularly as Black people. We've already mentioned that Black Lives Matter is already considered a hate group, right, or a terrorist organization. So it's not, to me, it doesn't take much of a leap to assume that any Black person who decides to express themselves from a point that has Black Lives Matter leanings, or anything that's generally oppositional to the state, that they will receive that same type of censorship in works. So we kind of had to be mindful. It's that's why it's just really tricky. I mean, obviously, I'm not a person that's gonna be a big proponent of the Ku Klux Klan or any other or any type of neo-Nazi organization and everything. But I still have to hold to the fact that people they should have the right to say what it is that they want to say. They do have the right to organize. Like, some tenants you have to take the emotion out of it. We have to be seriously aware of the consequences when we take rights away from others, because it could just as quickly be turned around on us.
That's very true. But these apps, if you read their terms of service, you have no right to the First Amendment in their terms of service. They can shut down their site, they can block you, they can delete you, they can do whatever they want in their terms of service with these apps. The First Amendment protects you from governmental and intrusion into your rights, not private companies, which is a differentiator between these apps. Which you can go on any platform and say what you like, but you're not um, you're not absolved from the consequences of your actions or
you're
your
operating
words
under
on
their
these
guidelines.
things.
You're operating under their guidelines.
But there are many platforms you can go on. Like, just because one platform is down, that doesn't mean that all of them are down. You can go on many platforms. There's still Twitter, Facebook, Tumblr, Pinterest, Blogspot, all these other places you can actually go to and get your words off. They're not censoring you all out. They're just saying, on this platform, we'll shut it down, or we'll shut this particular thing down. And in their terms of service, they usually have it. We can do whatever we like with your post and delete it, whatever. People don't read the terms of service. It's like, okay, whatever.
I mean, no, I get that. Like I said, I understand, it being a privately held company, they have the right to make the rules for their companies. And I don't know what the answer is to make sure that things are considered. How do you, like Facebook, for example? At some point, I think that should be considered a public utility. At some point, I think we do have to question whether we're going to allow things to be completely censored. It is a slippery slope. That's really my only thing.
Well,
I would say,
but Facebook is still technically a private company.
Right.
It's not essential to.
But it has so much power that it should be, at this point, I think that it should be considered a public utility. It's gone. I mean, it's been documented that Facebook has the ability to influence elections.
Facebook has lots of influence. I'm not saying they don't. I'm saying that most of the public utilities are like food, water, the internet, stuff like power, stuff like that. Those are actually
telephone.
Yeah, we don't need Facebook.
Considered public utilities.
Yeah,
there's a lot of things that we can live without. We just got used to just having them over the years. But
that's slippery. That's tricky right there because some
freedom.
people say no, we aren't. And some people say yes, they are, and I don't know. I don't know what. I guess it will be had to be regulated to be a public utility because some power companies would be like, okay, we are technically a public utility, but they're like, no, we're a private company. We can shut down anytime we want to, like they did with the California California Power Company when the wildfires happened. It was like, oh yeah, we shut down. So okay, see our asses, and they shut down, started back up underneath for a new day. So it all depends. It's a slippery thing. I don't know how you do it, how they figure out what is technically utility and what isn't.
I don't know either. And I think that the innovations are moving a lot faster than the laws can be written for them. But that has to be something that we have to be mindful of, and we should be trying our best to figure that out along the way. Otherwise, we're in for a host of issues. Censorship is truly a fear of mine. Personal censorship and censorship for like for me, Kendra, I am concerned about, me being censored and not being able to express myself.
Censorship should be a fear of everyone. There's always, unless you control the platform, there's always a way for you to be censored because you don't own it.
Right.
Yeah, I think we ultimately have to be aware that
where you put your content and actually what you're putting out, because some things you have the right to say, but just because you have the right to say it don't mean you should say it.
Right.
That's like if I run to a theater,
if I want to, though.
I know that's like if I run to a theater and scream fire, I have the right to say that, but I shouldn't say it because there's consequences that come with that. Again, you have the right to say things, but just because you have the right to doesn't mean you should do it. I'm not saying you shouldn't do it. I'm saying you have to think about the consequences and weigh what you're doing against the consequences of what can happen to what you're saying.
Right. And we also got to remember that freedom isn't free. So,
very true.
No, it isn't free. There is a cost involved.
So
there's a trade-off always.
At the end of the day, we still have to put onus on the individual, just knowing what to say or what not to say. That's what I'm saying? You just have to be mindful of your self-awareness. No matter how you may feel, whether you feel right or wrong, at the end of the day, you can control your own situation. Say there's a lot of power that comes within the tongue. So you just have to be mindful of the things that you say, things that you don't say, and be mindful of the platforms that you say in, because all eyes are watching at all times, and not everybody may have the same views that you may have, and some takes you may have might trigger somebody to do something outlandish. So I think we just have to be mindful of the things that we say, and just be mindful of the platforms where we put certain things on.
Like I understand you. Everybody has a right to do whatever they want, whatever. But like I don't understand how some of these people are acting like you're not live video and a live tweeting out what exactly you're doing these activities. Like we have 4K video of these people doing this stuff, but they're sending it out themselves. So you can't say, "Oh, they set me up." Like, no, these are the actions that you took. No one forced you to do these things. No one's put a gun in your head.
Right.
So you can't imagine the consequences of your actions. You knew what this could lead to. Not what it would lead to, but it could lead to, because you've seen people in the past that this has happened to. You can't say, "Oh, no, it's not going to happen to me." Like, no, you see what these actions have come to. You decide, no, it's worth the risk for me to do this. Let me do it. Like, I'm not saying that the people that were peacefully protesting should be messed up. Like, no, I'm not saying. I'm saying the people that were rioting and looting and being crazy should be held accountable for their actions. Now, if you were just there, you were just launching, cool. I got a problem with that. You could. I don't personally agree with you doing it, but you had the right to do that. I have no problem with that. You were people. You would do whatever you was want to do. Cool. But if you were acting violent and you were ridiculous, like, no, there's no reason for you to not feel like you should be held accountable for the consequences of your actions.
100%.
Yeah,
next topic.
All right. There were, let's see, 2 cabinet members and a couple of White House officials have resigned, and Congress people are backpedaling. saying they were against all this. Mind you, the day of and a couple of hours before, the day before, they were saying, "Oh yeah, let's get these people here. Let's get our base around them. Let's do this. Let's do that." They're like, "Oh, those people were wrong. They shouldn't have did it. We need to be careful about both sides and all this." I'm like, what do you mean both sides? There was only one side riding in the Capitol, having y'all like gunpoints, having shoot out with the police in the Capitol. Like how you say, "Oh, we need to take mercy on them and all this." Like what?
They just trying to look good for the next job.
I'm like, y'all
You know
out
what I'm
of
saying?
pocket, man. Y'all is really out of pocket. What y'all doing?
They just trying to look good for the next position.
Yeah, this is crazy.
Politics at its finest.
Let's stop this right here. We can start part two in a second.
All right.
All right.